This is Dallas Cohen, the Rebound Coach, and
Coming off of mute to say Melikia Courtney, hey.
you're at the Rebound Coach Live, which is obviously a special edition because it's not just the Rebound Coach who is live. we have Coach MK live also for a special joint show tonight. So we're pretty excited that you are here. If it's your first time joining the Rebound Coach Live, or someone passed you this in a message, or you saw this scrolling on your feed, so glad you popped in. I'm Dallas Cohen, the Rebound Coach, and this is Melikia MK Courtney, also known as Coach MK. And we have an exciting topic, and I say exciting, like I often say exciting about pretty serious things. Because I think this is important. A lot of folks deal with disappointment. And so today's topic is how to deal with disappointment. And if it's your first time, you've never joined one of these before, and you're like, who are these two beautiful, fabulous, amazing Black women? What do they have to say, and why should I hear them? I will give you my quick story, and I'll pass to Melikia to share hers as well, just so you kind of know us a little bit, and hopefully it's enough to have you stay for the ride. So I know disappointment on a pretty deep level. The short version of it is I survived a domestic violence marriage for 10 years. He wasn't super physically abusive, but he was definitely emotionally and spiritually abusive. There was serial adultery going on in the home. And for 10 years, I was married to someone who wanted me dead. And that's kind of scary and didn't make a lot of sense for someone like me who grew up in a nice, good Christian home with good Christian parents that were married for a lifetime. At the same time, I was molested from age 8 to 16, and that really does change how you see yourself. For me, also how I related to God in a faith-based household and how I saw men. So fast forward, when I met the man I married and later divorced, there was definitely red flags, reasons to not be together, but there were also reasons to be together. And I believed that God was with us, and whatever trouble came, we'd be able to overcome. And trouble came like right away and never quite left. We just got into this cycle of what I call coping in crisis. And it was where we would kind of barely make it and then fall into a crisis, and then barely make it and fall into a crisis. And this went back and forth for a while up until January 2020. Everything kind of came to a head at that point. He left for this other woman. I found out they were plotting my murder. And I kind of say that with a twinkle in my eye because it's been a little bit, but it was a really, really scary time in my life. And I could just kind of allow things to be as they were, you know, the life I had, the identity I had, or I could choose life. And so I wrote a book. It's called I Choose Life. Here it is. Rewrite your love story and change your legacy. And not only is it just a story, because people ask questions when I tell them that. They're like, so how did you find out? And where is he now? And what's good? Okay, y'all, it's too much. You got to just read the book. Okay, it's just, there's way, like, it's literally, okay, I couldn't possibly tell you in 30 seconds. So if you would, or if you're curious about the rest of the story, or something in that book in my story resonates with you, and you'd like a passport to freedom, you can find it at thereboundcoach.com/book, thereboundcoach.com/book. And so I have the freedom, the honor, the privilege to come alongside high achieving women of faith who've lived through betrayal, trauma, abuse, and don't want to just survive. They don't want to be in a cycle of coping and crisis for themselves. They want to thrive, and they finally want to get to those places their heart is longing to go in their lives. And so Coach MK has walked alongside. We've walked together in the journey to help other women. And I'm so excited to have her on with me today, and I'll pass for her to share.
Hey, you guys. Melikia K. Courtney here. Can you hear me well, Dallas?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. I always enjoy when you share your story because I know that the women who are able to hear it, and men too for that matter, and glean can shorten the suffering. You know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah.
To touch my story just a little bit, Dallas and I have a lot of things in common, down to interesting home life, and then meeting and marrying. I mean, we can say it politely, right? We'll be polite for
Sure.
now. For now, okay. And meeting and marrying a gentleman who wasn't gentle at all. In fact, we do have that in common. He physically tried to kill me, and it was a something. That's what it was. Dang on. Fast forward, God had grace, and I lived through that. And I will tell you that the Chicago streets is the truth, and it's even more colorful when you come face to face with a badge carrying American who doesn't value your life either. I almost died for peeing while black last year, and traumatizing. I think that's a really, really good word. Traumatizing. There we go. And it set off such a course of discourse in my mind, in my business, in my body, in life. And everybody knows business begins in the body. And I can tell you that I had way more room for the pain, the trauma, the disappointment, the crazy that came with it. But what I also had in there was an unyielding faith. And I can say that you can hear my singer in the background a little bit. God was present. Even in that moment when that officer was losing his mind, screaming at the top of his lungs, showing me that he was completely out of control and that I was completely in danger, God was completely right there. And fast forward a little bit from there, bless God, I had just wrote a book, December 15th, The Ladder, How to Escape the House of Domestic Violence and Trauma. Do you know I had to go back and read my own book? Yeah, I did. Do you know that I had to reach out to the amazing people around me because I was blessed enough to have some great coaches like Dallas Bestie on deck, and some other coaches who work with a 5D lifestyle and that should really help me transition through that. Well, I wasn't too far down the road when God and I was just having it out. Like, listen, I need a response. I need something positive to come from this. And I found it Sanctuary Experience. And I saw something amazing and huge, and I'm believing God that it's still coming. We're in the beginning stages of it, and we do have an event coming up. We'll talk about that later because Dallas definitely hit Dallas on the phone like, listen, this is what's going on. This is the response I'd like to have. Hey, bestie, want to play? And she's like, yeah, dude. So we have been walking this thing out together, and thank God for community. Thank God for renewal. Thank God for sisterhood. Thank God for fun. I am mischievous. So that's a little bit of my story in a nutshell. And if you want to know more about me, honest to God, get to know me. I'm a spoken word artist. I do host a poetry room every week. I do masterminds 3 times a week just to help folks grow. I was asked to be on a panel weekly Tuesday to help folks get money for their business. So there are a lot of things that I do, including my background and wheelhouse of writing and other stuff. How about that? Entrepreneur. So that is who I is. I'll throw you my stuff.
And Melikia, if someone wanted to get your book, How to Survive tell me the title again and tell me where to find it.
The Ladder, How to Escape the Hells of Domestic Violence and Trauma. And I will drop the link. That's probably going to be the simplest way. Let me grab the link and you can post
I
it
can put it.
somewhere.
I can put it in a banner if you tell us what it is. No. Okay.
Grab the link and just drop it. Mike is yours.
Alrighty. So I will share that as soon as I have it with you who are watching on Facebook. And if you want to grab the ladder, you can go ahead and do that. So today's topic, how to handle disappointment. And so when we think of disappointment can be anything from like, oh, I stubbed my toe and I didn't mean to, like all the way to really deep disappointment. One of the major challenges. So when I'm serving women who've come out of abusive relationships or abusive marriages, um, some of the hardest thing to deal with is disappointment. You know, there was this expectation, even when a woman's in a relationship with an abuser and they don't like the abuse and they don't, have warm, fuzzy feelings for the man in their life. However, they have a deep mourning loss for their expectation, who they thought he was going to be, who they thought he could become, and for, in many cases, who she thought he was, right? They're mourning that expectation. And disappointment comes in all sorts of forms, not just in relationship with a romantic partner, but in your relationship with hope, in your relationship with success. We also serve a lot of entrepreneurs in our community, and there's a lot of that in those spaces too, where you work hard. In the way that I kind of positioned this talk today, is people work hard. I know I lived a life where I work hard in general. And there's this association between, if I work hard and I'm faithful, it's going to work out this particular way. We have in our mind the way we think it's going to work out, and then it doesn't. And then we try again, and then it doesn't. And then we try again, and then it doesn't. And so this, right, scripture says, hope deferred makes the heart sick. So after a while, it's not just disappointment anymore, it's resentment. It's this daily attitude of criticism. It's this daily attitude of negativity, and we don't expect anything to go well, because the one thing we were hoping for has not gone well in X number of years. And it's a very debilitating way to live. And so I have a few tips on how to deal with disappointment that I want to share, but I'd like this to be a back and forth between Melikia and I. So I want to toss her the mic, so to speak. And we're doing this in Clubhouse nomenclature, but because we have folks on Clubhouse. And by the way, if you are on this and you want to join on the Clubhouse streets, you can find us. The name of the room is How to Deal with Disappointment. Listen, then share. It is in the Sanctuary XP Master Key Mindset Club. Okay.
And Master Key Mindset is spelled backwards. Please do not think you're going to type in Master Key Mindset and find it. You're not. Sanctuary XP.
Yes, because there's no way I can pronounce.
I was having fun. I was having fun up there. Don't do it.
But it's the name of the room, How to Deal with Disappointment. You can search for me, Dallas Cohen, or Melikia.
Courtney.
Yes, but you can't search for her now because she's here with me.
You can still search it. It'll still bring up the club item.
Okay.
So when you talked about disappointment, I'm over here nodding my head like till it rocks, because it's so true, and the word settles it, does it not? It specifically says that it is sickness. And sadly, if you consider our medical help, they can't help us when it comes to that spiritual sickness of the heart. And I think it's there's so many ways to define it, and you did a good job of defining how it expresses. And it's almost like your heart is crying out for mercy, right? Like for God to just walk and hold the melting heart that you feel like it's melting out your body. So it's hope deferred is a dangerous thing. So I'm looking forward to this. I think conversation style is how we're going to vibe it. So with that.
And I put the link up in the banner here. So it's the ladder. Oh, I hope I did that right.
The ladder book. It's right.
Yeah. Okay, great. Because I tried to copy and paste and that didn't work. So I need
the HTTPS still, but we'll see.
theladderbook.com/purchase. And for those on Clubhouse, that's what it says. theladderbook.com/purchase. And you can get your copy of The Ladder. Yes. So folks with their hearts sick, what are some signs you would say, Melikia, of people who are dealing with chronic disappointment? They've kind of attached themselves to that. What are signs of?
So when I myself was dealing with chronic disappointment, and I sat down to do that self-inventory, like, okay, I feel like that. Here we go around the mulberry bush. The monkey chased the weasel. I swear, it was constructed in my life, and I know cycles. I see patterns, and when I came to the point where I was like, okay, are you tired? Yes,
Mhm.
I'm tired. You plan on sleeping anytime this year? I would like to. I would like to sleep, right? I'm having this conversation with myself. Like, okay, what's really going on? What is the story that's running around in your head that's just got you following it? Because that's literally what it was. The story, of course, happened, and it didn't matter which pain or which trauma.
Mhm.
Those things had occurred. I had a bucket. I had a bucket full of traumas. I could throw
Mhm.
my fishing line in and pull out one, at any point and unwrap that bad boy, eat it like candy. The story existed, right? I could not make it unexist. But what I had allowed the story to do was move to the forefront of me. It was no longer the cart being led by the horse. It was literally leading the horse.
Mm.
So I found myself looking, my assistant, my mental assistant, and I were looking for that story to help explain what was going on and reaffirm.
Mhm.
Reaffirm. So you'll find if you're experiencing that disappointment of the heart, you are reaffirming
Mhm.
comments, thoughts, stories, words, like all the vultures
Mhm.
that this world. You'll find that that's life. And then what it looks like in business, you're moving so far, but then there's a hesitation and a doubt and a blame.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then there's the self sabotage that pops up like, hey, don't forget about me. Let me get in your boat. So it's a heaviness. And
Mhm.
those are the things that hop in the cart that make the cart heavier and heavier and heavier. You done dismissed the horse, now you the horse. And you're just dragging it around. You know what I mean? And it rolls you over, gets in front of you, and you chase it and catch it. And then you drag it around and you really repeat that psychotic cycle. It's
Mhm.
tiring. It's
Yeah.
exhausting, and it hurts. It hurts,
Mhm.
hurts, hurts. And it's not intentional. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not that I volunteered to do this. Oh my God, this is what I want to do in my life. No, it wasn't that. It was little by little, little by
Yep.
little, little by little.
And it's absolutely subconscious. So I would 10,000% agree with you. It is when the stories happen and we attach our belief to them.
Mm-hmm.
So an event happens. You've heard Melikia and my story both. So abuse happens or trauma happens, like Malikia's shared with the police, or anything. Something happens. And then we interpret what happened with a story. Now, we spend the adult years of our lives repeating the stories we learned as kids. Okay. But at one point it was a fresh
Yes.
story. Okay. So we took that on. This is what that means. Right. And then, just like Malika said, we're constantly looking for affirmation that our stories are true. And we do it. We find it. It's so easy. It is human nature. Human nature. And in the case of people in business, self-sabotage, when she said, self-sabotage gets in your boat, it's something I have to deal with still, because if I had identified as, someone who struggles. In my book, I talk about glory in the struggle, and how growing up, we were homeless twice. We were always like about to die. Not in that sense, but like about to be homeless, or about to, our electric would be turned off. We didn't have water for a while. Like there was always some crisis right around the corner. And the way my parents framed it to us was, we're suffering for the Lord. Like, this is what happens. I know you, I see your face.
Dude, the close to what is it? Jesus, I forget, poverty. Something about Jesus's heart is close to poverty. Some madness like that.
Something
The
that's not
lies,
biblical at all.
dude. The lies we
Um,
were told. Go ahead.
so we weren't taught like poverty was good. What I was taught was that following God's way, like being obedient to God, means you're going to struggle and like never have security. For a child, and then for women, for girls, security is a pretty high need.
Yeah,
Okay.
a little bit.
food security. Like every child needs to know that their house is kind of stable and the people are going to stay there and love is plentiful and food is plentiful. Like those like basic needs need to be met, and then basic emotional needs too.
Yes.
And so for me, I got a story early on. Following God's way as far as your business is concerned means it's feast or feast. I mean, or famine is what I was trying to say. Like it never came around to like we're doing super well and it's safe and okay. It was always like, something bad's gonna happen. And so I had associated that like struggle is the way to be, and struggle means you're doing something right. And I really wanted to do something right. so so I have in the past associated my business efforts with it needs some level of struggle to be doing it right. And that's again, it's a subconscious work. Consciously, it's like, no, I'm gonna be a success. No, God promised me all this stuff. No, it's gonna be amazing. Internally, this is where I need to stay. So even when I have the right answers to deal with whatever struggles I'm dealing with, I wouldn't do them. This is why people buy gym memberships and don't go. They buy business leads they don't use. We take a step in the right direction. We attend lives like this and don't implement the stuff that we heard for the 1,000th time.
For the 1,000th time, Lord.
Okay. We're in communities of people who hear wise things often.
Yes.
Right. And repetition is the mother, father, sister, brother, and neph of learning.
Yes.
So it's important to be in that environment and stay in the environment so you hear stuff a million times. Like there's value in the repetition. But eventually we have to do what it is that we know. And what stops us is the story. So my number one tip of 4 for anyone taking notes is focus. Focus is your superpower. I just heard it phrased this way at a recent event, which I think is so cool. Focus is your superpower. Focusing on your problems create more problems. Okay. We know this. If you've been alive long enough, you know this. This is not rocket science, but write it down anyway. Focusing on your problems create more problems. It's okay. So here's some things that I repeat all the time. I repeat things like I'm overwhelmed or I'm frustrated. Sometimes I speak them out my mouth. Sometimes I say them in my head, in my heart, but I repeat that. And so focus there creates more of that. Another fabulous business person I know says things like, I'm the best kept secret. But then that's not healthy for a business to be a secret.
Yes.
No,
I'm just kidding.
It's not. Can't be a secret. don't tell them that I'm a like super person. I can help people and they should pay me for my services, but I'm a secret, right? So we confess those things and we're focused on those things. By the scripture says the mouth speaks from the overflow of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you know what's in your heart? What are you saying about yourself, about your life, about your family, about your future, about everything? What are you saying that tells you what's in your heart? I'll pass before we go on to the next thing.
So my very first point when it comes to dealing with that extended version of the DVR of disappointment is be quiet. Just be quiet for a minute. Speak it out loud. Something so very simple. Just shh. Because when you are shushing yourself, that is what you are hearing. That is what you're speaking. And we know what it was used for, right? For those of us who had folks around us that did love us, to hold you up for a second. Your kid fall down, they bleed, they cry. Baby, shh. Right? The sound itself, and it is NLP and a whole lot of other good stuff in there, and but there is such a soothing soothing, because when you are dealing with a sickness, right, you don't go telling people who have cancer, get out of the bed. You're not chasing folks with a broken leg, walk your behind over here. It's not the case. You're going to be kind to them, and you're going to show them that grace and that compassion. And the first thing, if you know what's well to do, is to be quiet. And in that quietness, begin to pray. That's my first step. I had to shut up, right? So that I could hear what I was saying to myself. Man, was I being mean to me? I was saying some mean stuff, y'all. Ooh. And I had some other folks' words that I had put in my voice, so they could go in there with it too. I mean, we had peanut butter and jelly going on. So literally my first step is to quiet, calm yourself. Remember the kindness you would show someone else, and show it to yourself while you pray. And that's my first one. Go ahead, Doc.
I love how something I love about your coaching style, your teaching style, is how practical things are in a very self-regulated in the moment. Like, here's how you handle it right now when you are wigging out.
Yes.
Which happens to everybody. So that there's no guilt. There's no guilt. There's no shame. It happens to everybody, whether you explode or implode. That happens to everybody. Okay. I'm the type of, I'm an imploder.
And I explode, duck.
Which is why we're a great team.
Go catch his words. Oh, okay, God.
So whether you go out or you go in, it happens to everybody. Freaking out happens to everybody. Wigging out happens to everybody. It's okay. Those are some super practical things. Whether you are shushing, you can shush internally. You can do that externally. You can have someone who loves you do it with you.
Oh, they might not be as kind, but you might want to do it for yourself first. If you're irritating them, don't ask. If they don't irritate the end of your stick, sure, ask them to shush with you.
Yes, if you're not, if it's not them, you're wigging out at. Yeah, that would make things weird.
Yeah. Don't make me laugh. Go ahead.
So my point too, for dealing with disappointment, don't hang all hopes or hinge your happiness on one particular thing working out. Okay. This is easier said than done. I'm not taking anything away from people's struggle when I say that, but it's true anyhow. When we hang all of our, now here's how you know, I'll be happy when, and you fill in that blank.
That used to be my favorite line. Oh, favorite line.
I'll be happy when. We all do it. Now, whether we admit to ourselves we're doing that or not, we all do this on some level. I'll be happy when I have a bunch of money or more money. No matter how much money you have, I'll be happy when I have more. I'll be happy when I'm skinny. I'll be happy when I've gained weight. I'll be happy when I'm married. I'll be happy when I'm single. I'll be happy when I'm a parent. I'll be happy when I'm an empty nester. I'll be happy when my business is successful. And then that successful, in air quotes, is a moving target. Whatever success is, I haven't quite reached it in one day. Don't hinge your enjoyment of life, your satisfaction with self, your worthiness, your approval on something working out. And we put a lot of focus on those things, particularly folks who are entrepreneurial, who, you put a lot of work and effort and you have ownership of whatever your projects are. And then if it doesn't work out, the sky is falling and the world is over. And we know in our brains, in our intellectual brains, something working out is not tied to our worth, right? But internally, we have this connection. Kids do it with schoolwork or with sports or something like that. I'd ask my children. I have 2 children. I asked one of my children, what are you looking forward to this year or something? a life goal kind of thing, and it's like, oh, I'm going to get better grades, or I want more work ethic. You've got great work ethic. She knows the kid I'm talking about. You have fabulous work ethic. What else? What else could you possibly want out of life or for yourself? Oh, I don't know what else. So this, and I'm pointing this out, I only recognize it because I've done this myself, where you're tied to an achievement of some sort. In her case, I want more work ethic to get better grades because that's going to make me okay. No, baby, you're already okay. You're already okay. You're the best that you ever need to be right now with the grades you got. you know, so this is the truth for you with whatever money you have, with whatever business track record you have, with whatever relationship record you have. You are already enough. You're already wonderful. And if you ever choose to believe that, it produces the external stuff you're trying to get to in the first place. As long as we're trying to get to it to make us okay, we don't get it. When we're already okay, the stuff is attracted to us. And I'll toss.
Your baby tickled me. She's so excellent. She's such an excellent young lady. Both of them are. Great job, Mom. Step one. Really got to toss it out there. You are a killer mom, and they are. You guys, they are so well behaved. And we won't talk about the fun we get into when Mom's not around. We won't talk about that.
No, we won't.
Oh, and there's lots of sugar involved. Yes, there is. Okay, so fast forward in the thought. To move into just kind of the second thought that I had on the topic. And the fun part is the topic hit like soon ago. But these are just like literally the raw thoughts that come. And because this is what I did, it's one thing to have to draw it from the ethers. It's a whole different pattern when you done lived it. It's a whole different thing when you're talking from experience. So this is me from experience, right? After I did my shushing, and I was kind enough to myself to not say shut up. I was just like, you know what I mean? I'm serious. There is time to be kind to you.
It's always time to be kind.
I did not know that, Dallas. You see what I mean? I did not know that. So while you were speaking too, a lot of the things that we do, we want to be better, but there's always that attachment. There's reasons why we do it. We're looking for that approval. We're looking for that position. We're looking for love. And killer part is most of the time we have it, but can't see it for looking for it. So like I mentioned before, just a shush, listening and pray, giving yourself grace. That was one. And then two, gracefully create. If you consider a swan, I was so fascinated by those things when I was a kid. I couldn't draw them enough, but just to watch them, how graceful and how peacefully they move through the waters. And a lot of times our waters are drowning us, right? When we're in that overwhelming, that disappointing state. But to watch the swans, how gracefully they move through the water. Now, when I understood that those feet was, you know what I mean? That's a whole different problem. It was enlightening to me because it made it clear we are all doing the best that we can do. We are all doing the best that we can do, and that is enough. So gracefully create your next. Dallas pointed out, you're mentioning identifying the problem. Always, always, always good. You must identify the problem so that you can solution for it, right? So my solution was to begin to gracefully create something else, and it looked like, because I don't like the in the sky stuff for me. Give you what you can take. When I began to create, I considered my building materials. Like seriously, like I knew my thoughts were a little bit rotten. So it's like new material to construct with, like for real. And so I began to take inventory. And what I found was there was a lot of good stuff in there. There was a lot of great thoughts in there, and a lot of great learning in there. And then I went on to learn more. I started consuming kindness, reading things and learning from coaches and learning from mentors and models that would teach me how to be kind to me. And then at that point, I used what I had. Right. So I believe in the imagination. Imagination station is the man, imaginate life. I believe in it. So I used to get in a lot of trouble when I was a kid in school because I would be daydreaming and out the window around the corner somewhere. I'd be in a whole different state in my mind. We were having a good time. So I went back to that lifestyle of daydreaming, but consciously daydreaming, like purposefully daydreaming. What did I want? How did life need to move? What did I need to say to myself? I listened to the things that were spoken and I was like, okay, I know what opposite means. That's something I can do. Let's make some opposite statements. You know what I mean? And I began to tell myself the opposite of the foolishness that was running around in my head. And I learned this thing and I forgot about that. Here you go. In the thick of it, I don't care what the people said, but this is what I was doing. I would locate that thought. You see how I'm doing this physically right now? I kid you not, no matter where I was, I would just grab it and pull it out in front of me. And in my imagination, set that bad boy on fire and watch it burn until it was ash and let it go. I did that for a good solid year, like no joke. Holy Spirit was like, hey, you could rewrite that. I was like, oh, I didn't know. So I began to rewrite them and then let it go, reintroduce it to my thought body, because you have a thought body. I don't know if anybody ever told you, but how else is God saying, I know the thoughts I think toward you? Okay, great. But I reintroduced it to my thought body and I began to look for it the same way I got quiet and began to listen to what was going on and chase off the vultures. Well, I had to find the good stuff. So I began to find the good stuff, got my tail in a mirror and greeted myself. Well, nobody else greeted me. I got in that mirror. Good morning, beautiful. You know what I mean? And then I realized that I don't necessarily like that word morning, so grand rising it is. But I began to do very simple things because that people decide they want to go do this massive, grandiose, I'm going to go this, that, and the third. I'm going to go drop 30K on this. Fine. Drop your 30K. Get to. But the first things first. And the simplest of things that ain't costing you anything but your time, attention, and focus. Like Dada said, focus on you. Do the simple things to build your heart back up. Do the simple things to counter that disappointment. Because a lot of times, I figured out too, with disappointment, it is the unrealistic expectation sometimes. So when you are imagining, please make sure when you're constructing your new and your next, go reasonably and go ham. So have your two. This is my reasonable, this is my ham. And be okay with being fluid as reasonable or ham shows up. Because when it's great, it's really great. Like, yeah. And when it's not so great, it's still okay. Right? Gotta be okay with that. I'm gonna quit. Go ahead.
But the same point said differently is what you feed will flourish, what you neglect will die.
Kill it with fire.
But it's easy enough, right? So disappointment is that state of I wanted something but it didn't happen. That in and of itself is a story. That in and of itself is a thought that we feed. Okay, when we let it cycle around. So that action of pulling it out, burn with fire, and rewriting is, and that's the hard work. That's the hard work. It's harder than dropping 30K on some whiz bang thing that you think is going to fix it from the outside.
But it's still not harder than dealing with the pain continuously.
I don't know. And here's why I say that, because that's what happens when you do nothing. Right? That's the autopilot. Our autopilot is, let's have our pain, let's rehearse our pain, let's attach our identity to our pain, let's stay in our story. That's our autopilot.
I'm gonna challenge that autopilot. I agree, it's rhythmic and we've learned it and we can do it in our sleep. But I dare say you are still active and present. And why do I say that? Because you can hear it, you can feel it, you can identify it. If you can do all of that, you possess it. And if you possess it, you own it. And if you own it, you can change it.
Agreed.
So that's my argument there. Sort of.
But we both agree. It's just different. We're just saying it differently.
Okay.
But yes, I agree. We do own it. We are active. Maybe I view it as less present, but I would say active, and it takes effort to identify that thing.
It does.
Because otherwise it's just kind of running in the background, and so often we're doing those external things trying to solve internal problems. It happens all the time, and it's not that we don't need to do the externals, but if we don't also do the internals, we're ineffective. And this is how we end up in this burnout, in this hamster wheel sort of thing, where I'm doing all the right things, but why isn't it happening? Because of that internal work. Like what she's saying, being cognizant of your thoughts, like pulling that joker out, like scripture talks about taking your thoughts captive. That's exactly what that is.
It really is.
Captive. He had to tell us to do it because that wasn't automatic, right? We have capability to do it, or he wouldn't have given us the instruction. So you can and you should. Question is, will you? So speaking of taking thoughts captive, point 3 of 4 is nourish and protect what I've learned to call your sprouts. Sprouts are things that are good in your life, that are little bitty sprouts. So if you can imagine, the farmer and the seasons of farming, if you have a field, you just bought one and like no one's planted anything in it, it's like full of weeds and stuff, and then you have to clean out that stuff. So preparing the soil would be a season. You're working hard, but there's no harvest because you're preparing the soil. Then you plant. That's another season. You're working hard. There's no harvest because you're planting. Then sprouts come. Little teeny tiny, little weak sprouts. So sprouts, a big wind could knock them over and it's done, or the sun could scorch them and it's done, or you could drown them with too much water and it's done. And we do those kind of things when we say, well, this happened, but, and then we tear it down with all the stuff. Well, I haven't lost 100 pounds yet, right? I did exercise for a week, but I haven't lost any weight yet. I did change my diet, but, right? So I'm putting this in weight loss vernacular because it's kind of easy to illustrate that way. But we can do this with anything. And we do this with all sorts of things, okay? A way to take your thought captive, a way to deal with disappointment and not continue to live in it. Number one, choose not to live in it for the rest of your life. Just say, that's not the life for me anymore. I don't choose that. I choose life. I choose life. Okay. And nourish that. So there's always seasons, and we're always in a season of harvest. So you got your preparation, your seed planting, your sprouts that you're protecting, and then your harvest, right? So harvest, we've associated, especially in spiritual communities, we associate that with like, everything's great, money, yeah. Oh, my harvest. Like we're doing the whole harvest dance. Harvest is all the time. So we are constantly reaping the crop of whatever we have sown in prior seasons. So if we are reaping frustrations and disappointment, we've sown those seeds in prior seasons. It is cyclical. The trouble in that is that it's always happening. And the beauty of it is it's always happening. That's beautiful because you can change the seed that you're planting. Ta-da! You can change the soil of your mind and heart. Ta-da! And you can have a different harvest in the season to come. And the other good thing is we're not all bad or all good. The seeds we plant aren't all bad or all good. So there are sprouts, beautiful, positive, future foretelling sprouts going on right now that show you the life that you're after is achievable. As a matter of fact, it's on its way. How do you know? All those little sprouts that are happening, the sprouts of love that are around you, the sprouts of happiness, of freaking provision, right? If you're on here listening and you live in a house with air conditioning and indoor plumbing, like, start there.
Team indoor plumbing. Let's go.
I mean, there's folks who don't have such luxuries. You're in out of the elements. You have clothing on your back. You're breathing in your right mind. That seems so basic, but my gosh, there are people who don't have those things.
And on a phone and on a computer.
First world problems, yo, and on social media if you're watching this. So, because that's where this airs. So, there's beautiful, beautiful things all around us, all the time. And when we nourish those things, is when more good things happen and more good things happen. And before you know it, you're living the life that you're trying to live.
Facts on facts on facts. And I'm enjoying the conversation. I did pick up and see the time, so be brief and just share the last couple of points.
Yeah.
And the last 2 points I had was build you first. Temptation is when you're coming out of that and you're highlighting all these situations and all these other players and their roles in it come to mind. And believe and trust me, I had a whole lot of players in mind, and I had children, and I had life, and I had all these other things. Build you first. Airplane. Mask on you first. Make sure that bad boy's working. You breathing. Then you can help this person next to you put their mask on. Build you first. And then for the love of Bob, not the love of God, being disrespectful. For the love of Bob, have some fun.
Yes.
I forgot to have fun. If I was up to mischief and having more fun, I would have been so mad, so heavy, so hurt in my life. I had removed fun and made room for all that other stuff. Man, go have you some fun. And when I say man, I'm referring to all the women and the men involved. Go have you some fun. What makes you happy? I used to do a daily show, and the sign off was ridiculous anytime I had the last word, because it sounded like this: go run with scissors, play in traffic, stand in the middle of it, stare up at the airplane as it goes by. Observe rule number 1, don't die, but do what makes you feel alive. Do what makes you feel happy. Yeah, I am one of those people who hops out of perfectly good planes. Yeah, I do. Kayak with crocodiles. Got some crazy stories. Will have you laugh until you pee yourself. But that's life for me. That doesn't mean you didn't be that person. You go bowling, go skating, go sit outside, go fishing, get some water under your hands and under your feet, breathe, watch the sunset, watch the sunrise, do something. And if you have forgotten go back to your childhood. Even if it's one thing that you did that made you happy, I'm a writer too. Go away in here. This is one of the best vacations I take. I take mental vacations every day. Just a minute, like, ooh, let's go on a mental vacation. Let's go over here. Please, it don't cost me a thing. So do that. Do that thing. Find your thing. Build you first. And for the love of Bob, have some fun. Okay.
Yes. And so I saw this meme, and I'm transitioning too, because I know it's late. But I saw a meme recently that's like, God doesn't want you to just go and do what makes you happy. You got to do things that please God. Okay. Yo, I just need to set you free just in case that's where you're at. I understand. I was there at one time in my life. Please tell me how that sounds like the abundant life that's promised in the Word of God. Tell me how suffering, prolonged, lifelong suffering, is the call of your Creator. Show me chapter and verse. I'm waiting. Right? That's glory in the struggle, essentially. So that's not the life for you, even as a Christ follower. It's not the life for you. Enjoyment, abundance, life. He says he sets before you life and death, and then gives you a clue. Choose life.
Sure do. Like, they tell you nothing else. Sure do.
Yeah, go have fun. Now, I will not tell you to play with scissors and stand in the middle of traffic.
Okay.
Because that's a little dangerous.
Be safe.
But have fun. Speaking of fun, there is a sanctuary experience coming up in like 3 weeks, y'all.
Yay! I'm so excited.
September 16th, 17th, and 18th. It is in Clearwater Beach, Florida. And we have some amazing fun coming. I'm so excited. So I'm going to share a really, really quick testimony from Keely Houston, who was part of the last sanctuary experience, and she shared her story on a workshop we did recently. So I'm going to share that with you. If I can make it go.
I really enjoy the sanctuary experience. I think it is just a great unwinding experience, something to where you can really, get more in tune spiritually. You don't have that outside chatter, or you don't have that outside view. It's more of you're focusing on your spirituality and just learning and growing and healing. Is such an amazing experience, and I loved it last time, and I think it's just great, awesome, and wonderful what you two do, especially with that experience. And it's amazing, and I just want to tell y'all that I love what you guys do.
So she was part of our workshop, and she shared her testimony of when she was a part of Sanctuary Experience. So I just wanted to share that with you so that you're not just hearing it from me and Melikia, you're hearing it from the people who experienced it. And it's an amazing time.
30 seconds, make it 60. Listen, you ain't heard it from me though, but listen. When I tell you, it is nothing like watching God walk through. Holy Spirit was snitching. I mean, it was some snitching going on. To be a part of someone's release, like to feel that release come up off of their body. It ain't no words for that. You know what I mean? Ain't no words for that. Powerful experience. And like the young lady said, and that part didn't play on there, Not Your Mama's Conference. For real, Not Your Mama's Conference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Powerful.
So if you have questions, you're not sure, you want to learn more, check it out at thereboundcoach.com/sanctuary, thereboundcoach.com/sanctuary. And if you'd like to join the discussion and tell us what you are doing to deal with disappointment, feel free to join us at the Clubhouse room, which we will transition over to in just a second. The room is called How to Deal with Disappointment. Listen, then share. It is in the Sanctuary XP Club, and we'll see you there in a moment. But until next time, thanks for joining us today on Facebook. We appreciate you. And until next time, choose life.